Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for August 19th through 26th, 2024. Well, we are in some of the most intense and powerful astrology as we are experiencing the exact Jupiter square Saturn transit right now. Jupiter will be in exact square to Saturn through the 23rd of August. This is increased in potency because Mars has been with Jupiter in Gemini. The power of this transit that's happening, this generational game changer transit of Jupiter square Saturn, is that it's happening in mutable signs, and mutable signs are the great adjusters. What's happening now is we are in just this feeling of, hold on, the universe is rearranging. And it's like the backdrop completely rearranging. And how can you move forward? How can you make plans? How can you move just even through your day with this incredible feeling of the unknown? This was super amplified with the full moon in Aquarius that we experienced this week on the 19th. And the full moon happened at 27 degrees opposite in Aquarius, opposite the sun at 27 degrees in exact square to Uranus at 27 degrees Taurus. 2 and 7 is together make 9, telling us that this is the end of a story, the end of a pattern, the end of a program. And the sun will remain in exact square to Uranus through this next few days. And this is a challenge to our permission to own and express the truth of who we really are. The sun at the end degrees of Leo saying you are here to shine. We have a light body. We have higher technologies available in our very own field. And yet we've been programmed to fear this energy. The moment we take it back in our field, the world must come with us. And that is the place that we're at. So the full moon in Aquarius brought up all kinds of deep subconscious fear programming around whether or not we can handle our light and power. Go back and get that activation because it's very powerful clearing, contractual clearing coming up around secret societies, past life secrets, where we had to, and we agreed to shut down our voice and our truth in order to prioritize the message and the agenda of the organization. That was fine when the organization was pure-hearted and beautiful and in alignment with the mother. But it looks like what's happened is that these organizations became infiltrated and downright evil. And then we had loyalties to the wrong people. This is the energy coming up right now with Black Moon Lilith, our deepest, darkest secrets. This is the furthest away in the earth, in the orbit, the moon moving across around the earth realm, the furthest away that it is in its orbit. So it's like a black hole. Black Moon Lilith is something deep and mysterious, something hidden in our subconscious. Deep, dark secrets often having to do with the feminine. Now Black Moon Lilith is coming up to, or the North Node is coming up, the North Node moving backwards, Black Moon Lilith moving forwards, coming up into an exact conjunction on the 30th and 31st of August. So we are examining our deepest, darkest secrets, and in Libra, around relationships, where we have given our loyalties to those forces, those energies, those entities that do not have our best interest at heart, where we trusted the wrong people, where we were naive. Indeed, this is the great removing of the mask, the great reveal, where we must face how much we allowed forces that work against our spiritual evolution, against humanity, against life itself, how much power we gave them. So one of the energies that came through in that full moon activation was this bullying energy, this very controlling. We all have experienced this, most of us supernova souls, in these narcissist empath relationships we've all had to go through. This is how we take our power back. Now, the interesting thing that came forward was that this controlling energy only is there because those forces that are using controlling and bullying, they don't have the power of their own. See? The only reason you ever need to bully is to try to take control over something that's not yours. If they had the power accessible to them by birthright, which they don't, they only have what we gave to them. And now we take it back. So the bullying and control energy that's been happening through this whole evolution, keeping humanity from ever breaking free of this spiritual quarantine, this is game over now as we come into this place of recognizing that bullies are bullies because they don't have what we have. And are we going to hold it sacred? Now, this is the thing, because we're talking about Black Moon Lilith, our deepest, darkest secrets. This is associated with the 12th house of our birth chart. Something subconscious, deep and hidden, mysterious. And so in relationships, we're talking in Libra, this energy of the South Node, what's holding us back from the past, toxic or relationships with toxic people that we have not resolved, where we're continuing to allow them to use our energy to manipulate our choices, to redirect us, to invalidate us. This has been, unfortunately for supernova souls, most of the people around you have been there to invalidate who you are and what you're here for. That's the karmic thing. And then, so we're examining these relationships where we gave our energy away to the false power structures, to the false control. We often, the pictures that came through this recent activation, full moon, Aquarius full moon activation, had to do with where under duress or manipulation, we signed away, where we said we will keep our voice silenced in order to prioritize and be the agenda's voice or the organization's voice or message. Because if we had our truth and our voice, it would expose all of the lies of the evildoers. Do you see how we've been kept in chains? Do you see how we've been kept? Our hands have been tied, but we're taking back our power now. That's the thing. So that full moon square Uranus in Taurus, Uranus is higher frequency vibration, future technology, ancient wisdom, our connection to our higher self. So with this full moon in Aquarius, we're talking about the higher frequency vibrations of advanced technologies that have been hidden from us, stolen from us, we gave away. And then Uranus in Taurus is like, Taurus is our self-worth. And do you deserve? So do you deserve your higher frequency energy and technologies? And that's where those contracts came in, where we agreed not to come in to our full potential. And now we must rewrite and reevaluate these contracts. We made them with lower entities and beings lower evolved from where we came from. Why would we give our power over to the bullies? You know? It's like a lot of us have been experiencing a constant challenge to our power, to our energy, to our truth for lifetimes. It's like, oh no, you don't. You can't be who you are. And what happens when we supernova souls say, no, we're going to be who we are. We don't care if anybody agrees with us or cares or wants it. All what's important to us now is we have to express it. And that's where the tidal wave of change comes. And that's the new beautiful. The world we want to see is our gifts expressed. But these gifts have been twisted and hidden and broken. And we've got to go put ourselves back together. So that's a lot of this astrology. Literally picking up pieces of ourselves from past lives and putting ourselves back together from the traumas we experienced. And all those traumas had to do with trying to keep us from shining our light and being in our full potential. Because we're more powerful than the control forces. The moment we know we're more powerful, we don't need to bully because we have direct access to the energy by birthright. When are we going to stand and own this? And that's the massive redirection, backdrop change, reimagination rearranging that's trying to happen. And this is this astrology, because we've got Jupiter square Saturn, and Jupiter and Saturn come together for a conjunction every 20 years. Then that means as they go through the cycle, they would have a square, opposition, square. And now we're at the first square after the last conjunction that happened in 2020 in Aquarius. Capricorn in Aquarius, speaking to turning the wheel of time into the Aquarian age. So now we've got the next 5 year next station, which is this. We had the incredibly beautiful sextile last year and this year with opening up possibilities. And now we have both of Jupiter and Saturn in mutable signs in square to each other and saying, now this is where we adjust. And this is the generational change. This is the marker. And what is it saying? Because it's not just Jupiter square Saturn. Mars just crossed over Jupiter, and Mars and Jupiter will still be close for the next few days. So Mars and Jupiter in square to Saturn, and then throw Venus into the mix. Venus and Virgo, opposite Saturn. So we have a T-square with Mars and Venus. And Jupiter square Saturn. So Jupiter square Saturn, timeline marker. Mars square Venus, we've got to overcome the great divide. We've got to come back to heart center. Stop arguing and hating ourselves. Start understanding these massive agenda to keep us in divided and against each other rather than united and powerful. And this happens within our heart and soul too. So our masculine and our feminine, these are like diametrically opposed energies that have been against each other. But now we're healing the masculine and the feminine and coming back together in that divine sacred union within. That's what this says. That's what the timeline adjustment is. Coming out of duality consciousness and into the cosmic heart. Now, when you feel this, and this is any spiritual path or religion you get on, if you go far enough on that path, you're going to recognize the top of the mountain. And the top of the mountain is when we realize we're all one. And so this is when you have a glimpse and a taste of this cosmic heart, you can't hurt anybody. And you have a completely different consciousness of what's going on. And you cannot be controlled through scarcity and fear because you feel connected and you feel in love. Is this the higher technology they've been keeping us from? Our own love? Is that why this Leo sun at the end degrees of Leo is activating this, like pushing us into shining, pushing us into our cosmic love, pushing us into this expression? A very powerful energy came through with that full moon, Aquarius full moon activation around really anchoring in and incarnating our light and our truth. This is very powerful. We've been, most of us, just kind of barely here on the earth trying to survive this crazy experience. And now we're being called to, like, are you here? Are you committed? And this message we got from the beginning that there's this way bigger self that has not been able to land home and fully incarnate for various reasons at the time that we were born, and the energies of the earth, karmic relationships with our family, past life issues being triggered. We were not, supernova souls could not fully incarnate at the time of birth and through childhood in the natural way. We have this big spiritual self that does not feel welcome here. But it doesn't matter whether we're welcome or not, we're landing. That's the deal. So that means we have to overcome every single pattern and program of when we did land home, being targeted for our light or killed for our light. So this is where we've been dancing at this threshold place, and that full moon in Aquarius brought it all up. Fear of our Kundalini awakening. That's what came forward. Where in our body and our field are we resistant to this awakening that's trying to happen on the earth and in our body? Because the earth, she says, it's her ascension. This is the original dream of what she wanted to become. What we experienced is a separation. And it's like the soul of the earth. And so the soul of the earth, oh wait, Is that kind of like supernova souls? Not quite fully incarnate? And the soul of the earth, because of everything we've gone through in the darkness, had to leave. And now the bride of Christ arrives in the sacred marriage chamber, this sacred union where the soul of earth comes home and rejoins. This is our energy. Now, this fits the energy we're seeing around a timeline careening into the optimal timeline. Like we're like crashing back in. We've been blocked from and thwarted at every turn. And now the energy is so powerful and we're coming back in. But in order to come back into our ideal timeline, we've got to go pick up these missing pieces. So it's been an intense time for supernova souls of time travel, jumping back and forth, picking up pieces of yourself and almost like inserting them into your timeline so you can be whole and complete. So you can get on that ideal. So you can join back your soul with your body fully incarnate, the mother's soul with her body fully incarnate. And what is that soul? It's one and the same as Christ consciousness, or you could say Yeshua. And this is the divine sacred marriage. And this is why we must prepare her, because we are her. And we've been ignoring her. This is the message, the waters. We're talking to the primary waters. We're talking to the mother through the primary waters, the waters deep in the belly of the earth, forged in the magma, in the heat, coming up to the surface to speak to us. This ancient wisdom and powerful energy of rebirth all at the same time. And the waters saying, why won't you talk to me? Why do you ignore me? The most special, the most precious. Isn't this how we've been? Like we live in a society of suppression. Like just ignore it. Don't talk about it. Maybe it'll go away. Just get on with it. Go on and take a whole bunch of drugs to just get the symptoms handled and, no actual real healing. And so the pain of our separation is just sitting in our heart. And then we feel shame on top of it. And we try to turn back to that love. And then we feel that, just so much comes up about whether we're worthy of her love. But it's our love, she says, as we go on this journey of gradually learning how to open back up our heart. She says, I know it's scary because you've been so hurt and so betrayed. That's that Black Moon Lilith conjunct the South Node in Libra. But she says, no one can take from you the love I have for you. It's your love. Like you got a piece of the pie, like it's yours. Nobody else can use it. Nobody else can take it. And so in our heart, we're putting ourselves back together and healing our heart and learning to love again. And she's inviting us back into this dream with her. And we start by being in communication and talking with her and talking to the waters and coming back into that union with source and that cosmic heart consciousness that comes when you feel connected and loved and cared for. And then you can rest and grow and evolve and heal. See, we've got to come back to her first, or we're never going to get anywhere. And that's exactly what's going on with Venus involved in this T-square. Venus and Virgo in exact opposition with Saturn. We'll be feeling that opposition with Saturn through this week, through Thursday, the 22nd. And this is very powerful because it's like Venus oppositions are like facing down. Venus and Virgo, this is the cleansing, the healing, the purification, the rebirth of the healer, the healers, and the healing on the earth. And we're going to do it her way now. Coming up against Saturn, retrograde in Pisces. Not the old way, not the persecution and the silencing and all that of the feminine. And it's weird because the energy of our feminine right now in Venus's placement is like, on the one hand, these types of transits, these types of opposition, especially Saturn, square Jupiter and Mars, opposite Saturn, she's like, oh, she stands alone, And yet she's like, wait, everybody's been against me, but maybe that's because I've got what they all want. Yeah, girl, you do. You got the juicy access to creation energy, stand up and be the goddess. This is for all of us, male or female body. We've all been in male and female bodies. We all have masculine and feminine within. Our feminine side is our intuitive side, our receptive side, our sensitive side, where we can listen and know and reconnect. And this is the only way. It's just a very narrow path, but it's the center way, the true way, the path, the truth, the center line, the Christ consciousness. That is the mother's way. She owns the road, see? Because it's like everything's hers in this manifest world. So we should probably get online. And then she, as we heal together with her, can take us to that bridal chamber for the Christ consciousness to imbue and infuse us as we come back into oneness and wholeness. And live here in this duality world, 3D world, with oneness consciousness. That's our birthright. That's our inheritance, as well as these higher technologies available in our very own body that we've been taught to fear. So we had a massive activation and these things coming to the surface, and go get that activation, the full moon activation, to get that clearing, that healing. Where is your body in field in resistance to the Kundalini awakening? Mother says that we've been programmed to believe that these higher frequency energies that are beginning to move in our world, in our field, in her body, in our body, are somehow dangerous. We can't handle them. They're not ours to have. That they're destabilizing and will cause catastrophe or destruction. It's all lies. The higher frequency vibrations are actually harmonizing and stabilizing in the plasma field. Can't break. Are we ready to own it? Can't break it. Can't lose it. The mother is the raw materials. She's the upper and the lower firmament. She is what can dematerialize and rematerialize. She shows us every day. Here we are killing ourselves with bad and horrible toxic poison food, while she's regenerating, showing us the power of rejuvenation, regeneration. This is what the divine feminine has for us. Direct access to creation energies. We don't even need to eat. We just breathe it in. And she says, just breathe it in. Just breathe this world, this truth, these possibilities into existence. It's already built. It's already created. Trust it, breathe it, live it, love it, align your vibration. So this is what we're being asked to do. And is this the backdrop change of the feminine feeling insecure, under attack, standing all alone? And yet somehow she's feeling more and more connected to her deeper inner truth. And this is our intuition coming online, male or female body, where we act from that. Not from the agendas, not from the contracts, not from everybody else and what they want, but our core spiritual truth. This is the great divide that has kept us divided against ourselves. We have not been living our truth. And it sucks to face this and to feel the shame of how far we've gone away from her, the love, our truth, doing everybody else's way. In survival mode, and it's like, how about thrival mode? Well, when I get all my money stocked up and I'll get all these problems solved and I'll do all this, then I can go to thrival mode. Thrival mode right here, right now, in the moment. It's all we have. Do you see how the agendas want us constantly waiting on some future event or date? Because it's the best way to keep us from knowing the power of our presence. Because we know CIA documents, secret documents, no longer secret. You can go look, the gateway process. Here's how you create your own reality. The only way you can do it is in the moment. So the forces of control want to keep us in the future and the past. So come here and thrive, she says. Come here and feel the abundance. Come here and breathe it in. Come here and escape from the slavery, the mental, financial slavery that we've been put under Come back to the mother and breathe it in. What happens then? It'd be like, hey, oh, food chain issues, all kind of trying to control our food supply and inflation through the roof to just steal from us left and right. But guess what? We're just breathing in our nutrition from the mother now. Game over. See how close we are? We are claiming true freedom. And that's what this is. Because going back to the Black Moon Lilith, deepest, darkest secrets in Libra, those horrible relationships where we gave it all away. And now we got to clean all that up and say, no, 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 no. And remembering that that Black Moon Lilith is opposite the North Node. And the North Node is that autonomy. How can we earn, feel worthy, and take back our inheritance if we're just going to give it away back to the nefarious forces or to the lower matrix? If we don't feel worthy of it, we're going to give it away. And this is everything. This full moon was pushing the envelope on our permission for that Kundalini awakening, permission for higher intuitive gifts, permission to shine our light and take back those advanced technologies. We've gotten the message, very interesting. We're waiting on the disclosure of these advanced technologies that we know exist that can make our world completely better. We don't need money. We don't need it. Take away the petrodollar economy and the scarcity modality of pushing energy through wires, which was never required. It's right there, electricity everywhere in the air. We take that factor out, we don't need, we're no longer controllable. And we got the message that the disclosure of the technologies available to us, advanced technologies that we know have been kept back from humanity, that the disclosure of those technologies cannot come until we disclose the technologies. We must take them back in our body. We turn our light on, then the lights go off and on, and the new grid. I don't know. This is the message. Like, we have to say yes to these technologies. We are pushing, and through that, we are pushing disclosure of these advanced technologies, saying we are not your slaves anymore. The cabal, money, magic, Babylonian slavery system does not work in the abundance paradigm. And the geyser was blocked of this creation force on the earth, but the geyser is being released. Mother Earth is awakening, Mother Dragon coming into her power, the spine, the Kundalini of the earth awakening. And then, of course, they want us to feel fear around that. But Mother says, no, 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 no. We can bend, not break. And that's the beauty of the divine feminine, that we've got to get back into our heart and into our world. Come into alignment to feel, we just cannot move forward without coming into starting to take care of ourselves and each other in a better way. Rudolf Steiner talked about the evolution, the spiritual evolution of humanity. We're becoming more and more empathic. And we know this, supernova souls, because it can be such a burden, but it's actually a gift. But when you feel everything, and we've been feeling the collective energies, so intense, transmuting and dealing with so much energies. Supernova souls, you are rock stars for all that you've been able to transmute and heal in this earth realm, in the collective consciousness. We are taking back this permission. And so when we're talking about this evolution, we're talking about, by carrying, we take back our evolution through the divine feminine, the message here through the mother energy, by caring and loving for each other. Because Rudolf Steiner talked about this, as we evolve, we get more and more empathic. So the day will come, and I know supernova souls, you've already had this experience again and again, where you can't be in the same room with someone without feeling what they feel. That emotions are real and things. And so we cannot exist in a world where people are not cared for and loved. We won't. We'll just perish. So this is why we must come back to that divine feminine, to the mother, to this nurturing, to the right way, the center way. That is the Christ consciousness outside of the divide. And so that's where this Mars square Venus comes into play, healing the great divide within, forgiving ourselves for going so far away. This is the divide within, is where we are angry and hurt at ourselves for going so far away from our spiritual truth. So far away from our spiritual truth, we don't even know what our spiritual truth is. What? There's a bigger part of ourselves that's trying to land home and incarnate? And this is the main energy. One of the frustrations, all this beautiful insight came through the Agar Casey readings. And but the main frustration was how hard it was to put those teachings, the messages, into practice in real life. That everything in the structure of our society and our world works against spiritual awareness and connection to the earth. And so it's like we've been living a lie. And aren't you frustrated? Aren't you done? Aren't you ready to live your truth? Aren't you ready to be doing every moment of every day what your heart and soul calls you to do? Not survival, not getting through. And this is the massive backdrop change that's happening. Because with this mutable T square, it's saying the universe is rearranging. The universe is rearranging, and it has to do with healing the great divide and the new beautiful, birthing the new beautiful, rewriting. Because Pisces, Saturn in Pisces is retrograde, and so it's definitely talking about the delusions and the pain of the and programming of the Piscean age. The Piscean age was using the collective consciousness of spiritual connection to control humanity through fear. But that spiritual connection is the blessings and the miracles. And we have long gotten the message that we can't just heal the delusions of the Piscean age, we have to retrieve the miracles and the blessings. Venus opposite Saturn is going, hey, free energy, she's a fountain and the geyser has been released. The block, the dam that's been keeping the creation energies on earth at bay so they could control us through lack and scarcity, the dam has broken and the geyser has overcome the resistance. We have to understand this. Everything that's been blocking our evolution is false, mechanical, created, and needs an energy power source. Oh, that's us. Everything moving forward in the evolution is organic and natural and building all on its own. Oh, I wonder what's going to win. Mom wins again. She always does. So maybe we should get with her. Maybe we should climb back on her lap, in her arms, in her love. And what if we knew out of the great divide into the new beautiful, we knew and know that in our heart of hearts, that we're in alignment and doing our best to do the mother's work like we've done lifetime after lifetime. This is what we're going to find out, Supernova Souls. We have been warriors, literally on the battlefield for the mother and for the goddess through this whole evolution, holding that divine, sacred, feminine, sacred, guiding the teachings, keeping them safe, putting ourselves in positions again and again of being compromised in order to protect those teachings. Is this the vow of silence we must give up? Is this those contracts where we agreed to remain silent in order to keep our group safe? But Jupiter, Mars, and Gemini is like, sing it, tell it, do it, act it, express it, right? So it's like this tension of like this lie we've been living of not being able to live our spiritual truth. And then Mars, Jupiter, and Gemini saying, you and things that have been suppressed can often come out. This is what happens in homeopathy if you're dealing with you have to be really careful. In general homeopathy, you give that remedy and the body is going to take that message and find the most direct way to cure. It's the mother's energy, the vital force, it's the self-correcting force that solves and heals all. And the remedy is just giving it the message to go down that course. But if the person has been very compromised and compensated through the poisons and the horrible suppressive um, medical system, Western medicine, then the disease is deeper in the body, you know? And so it's going to be a little bit dramatic. If it's been suppressed, you're going to have symptoms. And everything's been suppressed. The creation energy has been suppressed. The mother's song has been suppressed. The love has been suppressed. The light has been suppressed. And so when that comes to unleash, it could be a bit glitchy. And what is our timeline on this? Oh my. Yeah, massive activation, because we're in a weird, we're having Mars, Jupiter, and push, 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 and move the wheel of time, and let's go. But then we still have Mercury retrograde. So Mercury will turn direct on the 29th, and that's going to be a big shift of energy. But Mercury will still have his third and final square with Uranus. Mercury just passed over the sun for that full moon. And so Mercury and the sun were in square to Uranus, the moon in square to Uranus for that full moon fixed T square. So Mercury will have one more, 3 squares with Uranus during this retrograde cycle. The first one was July 22nd. The second one, 8/18, we just had. The third one, 9/7, September 7th. So Mercury turns direct on the 29th. We'll have that third and final square, so it'll still feel retrograde energy through that final square. And then Mercury will exit retrograde shadow, get back to where he started at 4 degrees Virgo on September 12th. So that is where we're like, we've got all this like momentum, energy, Mars and Jupiter, but the gears have not been able to catch, to make that leap, to move the time, to, and so it's a really strange, uncomfortable place. But who knows? Sometimes we've gotten comfortable with the stagnancy. It's all we've known. And it could be more uncomfortable when things actually start to move. We're going to have most of our personal or our planets retrograde once Mercury goes retrograde. So we're still in a retrograde energy, and then at the end of this year, Mars is going to be taking a retrograde. So that's going to be a total reworking, initiation, preparation through this next spring, or the first months of 2025. So what we've got going on is, for the next 3-4 days, still these squares. We've still got the sun square Uranus, tension and stress over shining our light, pressure to shine our light, but lack of permission to shine our light. And then we've got Venus in a very compromised position, opposite of Saturn, showdown with the timeline. She says, yeah, well, I might be the only one left standing. And this is kind of the picture, one of the messages I've gotten with this lower matrix thing and all the programming that we're dealing with and the technological. In order for their agenda to win, they have to have every single one of our conscious souls trapped, and it's not happening. We've already passed that point. They've lost. They've lost control of human consciousness. When do we take back and move forward in our new way? This is the new beautiful energy, that Venus opposite Saturn is a showdown into the new way. And the old way, the original way, her love, the way that every single indigenous culture lived, in mutual reciprocity, in honor and gratitude, in communication with the earth, with the mother, with this a field of energy. When we're in communication with these waters, the primary waters, the earth's electromagnetic field, it fortifies our electromagnetic field. And it's more is more. This is the free energy. This is the abundance economy. The chains are coming off, and the gears are getting going, and the device is, the free energy device that is Mother Earth's fire coming up in these primary waters. And it sounds, they want to personify Earth through these catastrophe programs. They've wanted to personify Earth as something that's going to hurt us, shake us off, reject us, kill us, and doesn't care about us. But it's not true, because in the past life readings I've done, the messages come through. Could it be that every single catastrophe, major catastrophe on Earth where a lot of people were killed, died, and lives were lost, it wasn't the mother. It was technologies. These technologies being misused to control humanity. And so the main thing they need is to keep us in trauma and drama. And so we need catastrophes. Then they did this thing, this horrible thing. I'm so sorry. And that Atlantean distortion. And you took on the blame for the catastrophes. You would never hurt your mother or anyone else. You're with her and you always have been, and she wants you back with her. And she says, please bring them back to me too. And so here's our task. And everything is about this. And so maybe ultimately that's the backdrop that's changing, is coming back into the mother's dream, the mother's love, where we are taking care of each other and building a new world based on that, on what really matters. This is kind of the deal with our new resources, our new wealth, our golden age is coming. We only get to activate that abundance when we come back to what really matters. And this is this wealth revolution, right? It's like, oh, done with the rat race and the stacking up of the accumulated items. I'm just over it. I want to sit and live and breathe in the moment. I want to thrive with the mother. She's got me. When you sit and you're really connected with the electromagnetic field of the earth, you need nothing. And she says, I will care for you. Even if you walk away and forget I'm yours or you're mine, I will care for you, she says. Is that the devotion she's had? And she even went into the pain with us. She went into the separation. We saw in the activation that when we were looking at this place in our body of resistance, where we couldn't let the light come in, we couldn't let the kundalini, or fear of a kundalini awakening, that black energy of darkness that was blocking and resisting the light, also in the body of earth. And by us healing this in our body, we can heal it on the earth. And she can come back into the glorious, full, beautiful love that she is, overflowing cup. This is the truth of the divine feminine and why all cultures in physical form worship her. And so here we go. Now, this is really powerful because we've got the standoff happening right now. Venus square Mars, Venus square Jupiter, Venus opposite Saturn. She's standing up to all of them. She's saying, hey, you can't change this and you can't do it without me. And she says, I'm going back to the garden and I'll be there when you guys figure it out. But she's also taking flight because we've got this really beautiful energy happening. Because, okay, so when we're talking about Pluto going back into Capricorn, this is bringing an ominous feeling, a foreboding feeling. And Pluto just about to move back into Capricorn. The last degrees of Capricorn have this very heavy, intense reality, face the music energy. And Pluto represents our power, but fear of our own power as well. So going back into the end of Capricorn, it's where we've been controlled in our power. Like we said, the bullies took over, bullying us so much we couldn't see the truth, that the only reason they were bullying us is because we have what they want. Trying to make us think that they have what we want or need because they stole it from us. And they feed it back to us, sell it back to us at a tax rate. When are we going to say no to this? You know? And that's everything that we're talking about here. But when we're talking about, so Pluto going back into Capricorn is, facing the chains, right? Facing where we gave our power away, facing where we had these loyalties to lower dimensional energies, where we gave up on our dream again and again because of fear of our own power. And it's really intense. But the deal is that Pluto going back into Capricorn is also going back into sextile with Neptune at the end of Pisces. And that's this big backdrop change. Neptune at the end degrees of Pisces, Neptune is, we've gotten the message, it's this rehash, reworking, reimagining of the Piscean age. Where, and of course that means all the old patterns need to come up. But we're talking about how the Pisces energy is it can be this, it's a spiritual connection energy, and it can be used to control humanity through lies and delusions. But it's also the spiritual connection and love and everything that we're talking about that makes us feel like we can get on with life and live and thrive and feel loved and cared for. So Pluto going back into Capricorn is a complete reworking of all of the structures. Capricorn structures, authority structures. Pluto the destroyer, right? So completely destroying all of the authority structures of our world and the structures of every part of society. We can feel it, right? The glorious demolition. And then Neptune at the end of Greece of Pisces is like, wait a minute, we could dream a new dream. So it's like, are we in the nightmare or are we in the dream? Have you been having this? It's been going on for supernova souls. The old pattern comes up and then it's like, and then it's like you're back triggered into that feeling. And no matter what's happening in your life, it's like you're back in this past life. The most scary, most intense past life experience is what we get triggered into with everything that happens in this life. So we're being triggered into that state and being like, is this a nightmare? Is this a dream? I thought it was a dream and I was tricked. See, they fed us the dream when it was really a nightmare. They stole our healers and our love and our light and gave us the darkness and told us that was the light. And all has to be reconciled, So it's so powerful because Pluto, yes, going back into Capricorn, but into sextile with Neptune saying, oh yeah, we're Jimmy and the lock on this one. We're building new, amazing, beautiful structures out of thin air because we've planted the seeds of these structures, these societal systems for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And if Mother says you don't have to create it, it's already done. You just breathe it into existence. And poof, structures that can catch and support society so that humanity does feel loved and cared for. Because we've got the money. We know now. It's not the paper they wanted us to think it was. You are the wealth. You are the new beautiful. You are the cutting edge leading us into ascension because you have access to these higher technologies in your body. So maybe we should get out of resistance and let our light shine. And that's the pressure of this sun at the end degrees of Leo. The sun moves into Virgo on the 23rd. So the cool thing, though, is that Uranus is at 27 degrees, and Uranus is moving, will stay at 27 degrees until it turns retrograde on September 2nd. So that's kind of an interesting energy because we'll have Jupiter turning retrograde and Pluto turning retrograde. Pluto's already retrograde, and Uranus will be turning retrograde. So it's like even though Mercury's turning direct, we still got all of our big planets in retrograde. And so it's kind of like we're sorting this out. But Mercury turning direct after just going over the sun is saying that there's and square Uranus downloads about your path, about how to move forward. It's coming. Be ready. This Mercury retrograde direct might not be where you like totally move forward, but you know where you're going. At least you've got hints and clues. And so just like be in the moment with that and make sure you get these downloads, because if the backdrop's changing, what does that mean for you? It's very different. Like, again, the message is so hard, but she says it's the structures that got you here, no matter how beautiful and perfect. You've perfected them. Cannot take you from here. See? If we're married or attached to those old structures, we can't go from here. See why your world is falling apart? So she says it's not going to look like what you thought it's going to look like. Sorry. But it's going to be more beautiful than you can imagine. And this is the big adjustment that we're in, the complete rearranging of our reality. So, because Uranus is at 27 degrees Taurus, that is in trine to Pluto in Capricorn, and beautiful Earth trine. Pluto reworking the structures of authority and society, and Uranus saying, ding, ding, higher technologies, ding, ding, we're missing something, ding, ding, it was stolen from us. Let's take it back. And what that is doing is creating an opportunity for a kite shape to take form. And so the top of the kite is Neptune in Pisces, then sextile to Pluto coming into Capricorn, and also sextile to Uranus and Taurus. So this makes this kite shape, it's like your classic Charlie Brown kite. And it's really, really important because the kite that we're talking about, the top of the kite, these sextiles, are all these bigger planets that take a long time to move. So they're like, them coming into form is like tectonic plates, mountains moving. And then Venus, come, little old Venus, and she just dances along on her way, trying to get back to the garden and avoid all the scary wolves and everything. And she comes right into this opposition with Neptune. That happens on the 29th of August. So that is also when we're going to have Black Moon Lilith and the South Node together. And this is very powerful because it's saying that now Venus in a new timeline, she just faced down Saturn retrograde and Mars, and she got Mars and Jupiter on her team, expressing the song of the divine feminine again. And now she's ready to take flight. It's a rising of the divine feminine. So Venus will be coming into this opposition with Neptune at 28 degrees, but or 29 degrees, and on the 29th, and then moving into the sign, Venus will move into the sign of Libra. So, but when Venus comes in opposition with Neptune, it makes all of that come into a kite shape. And the kite, the body of the kite is made up from a grand trine, and in this case, an earth trine, because we've got Venus and Virgo, beautiful purification and renewal of the feminine. And we've got Pluto. Well, Pluto will be going back into Capricorn, rewriting and reworking all the structures of our reality. And then Uranus and Taurus. Do you deserve? Do we deserve? Are we good enough? Can we handle? Are we worthy of our own higher frequency vibration technologies and higher frequency vibrations, advanced Kundalini awakening in our body? So that's the energy. It's an earth trine. And so the earth energy of the kite is saying that the earth it herself, especially with Venus being the one that's activating the kite, the earth herself is lifting up into a new reality. So it's got this energy of lifting up and twisting, dimensional shift and change to a whole new level of existence, this kite. So the kite will be peaked out from the 27th of August to the 1st of September. Very powerful end of August, right when Black Moon Lilith is with the South Node. So the feminine's taking flight. That means it's almost like until we take flight, we can't find the cords and contracts that have been keeping us anchored to the earth or chained to the earth, right? Because we want to incarnate our light here. But we've been trapped here. So it's so interesting, these energies. So watch out for that kite because we're going to have these squares all resolve. All the squares, Jupiter square Saturn will go through the 8th of September. And so that will be happening still. Jupiter square Saturn. This is that generational timekeeper type energy where Jupiter is expanding the voice of what's been suppressed in order to rewrite and rework the Piscean age. So much saying disclosure, truth. We've got to hear it. We've got to know it. We got to face the hard truths. We got to face the hard truths within ourselves where we've been avoiding. We've been avoiding ourselves, avoiding our emotions. See, this is the divine feminine. That's suppression. Where we have not been living our truth, where we have been beating ourselves up for not living our truth, living in shame, walking away from ourselves, walking away from the mother, all this, the great divide being healed. This is how all these components of astrology come together. And when we take into account this kite and the squares, every single planet and element is involved in this astrology, save one, Chiron in Aries. Chiron's at 23 degrees Aries, has just turned retrograde at the end of July. So kind of hanging out there. 23 degrees. And so it's like, well, that's 4 degrees away from the 27. So it's pretty much involved. But it's interesting because it's representing the cardinal energies, the cardinal signs. We've got this big mutable T square, fixed T square, and then this cardinal energy of Chiron saying, hey, this is how, this is, in Aries, the North Node in Aries, we got to heal these wounds of where we gave our power and our life force away. Literally, what we found in the activation was cords and plugs, and that was also in the Leo new moon activation as well, where we can find these cords and plugs where we've been leaking out of our field. This is everything that the Owning Your Energetic Field course is about. And so I've scheduled the next installment of this course. Of course, these courses stand alone. This one is called Finding Your Voice, and it's so perfect with this activation of Jupiter and Mars and Gemini square Saturn, just opening up. It's not just our voice. Our voice means our expression of our truth in this world. And that's the throat chakra. The throat chakra is narrow. Everything in the communication between our body and our head has to go through here. And it's also a place where we felt judged, because it's one thing to feel and know and feel inside our truth. But we're only really get into trouble when we express our truth. And so most supernova souls have a lot of past life pain pictures and dynamics blocking the throat, blocking the expression, everything we've been talking about. So check out that Owning Your Energetic Field course, Finding Your Voice. And this is a series of courses you can take together. We're going chakra by chakra, or you can, it's a standalone course and you can just experience this activation, or go back and get the other installments if you'd like to at some point as well. So that Owning Your Energetic Field, Finding Your Voice, working with the throat chakra, the power of our expression, happening on Thursday, August 29th and 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So I hope you'll consider that Owning Your Energetic Field course. And so thank you so much for your support and just being here and being a part of the Soul Tribe. Bringing your energy, listening to these concepts, being present with these truths. I can't tell you anything you don't already know. And it's just an honor to talk with you in this way, be with you, feel your energy. I know it's been such an intense time. And what we're going to find is that if we are the new abundance and the new beautiful, we've been very suppressed in that. And we, if we are, how can we show the world this way of living in free energy and abundance and love if we can't receive that for ourselves? So it's just a huge push with this full moon in Aquarius to fully embrace and express the light that we are, to step into our role as leaders in spiritual ascension, and to say, hey, we've done this before. We're not scared. I mean, we were programmed with fear, but we're working through it, and we're ready to take the leap and be that demonstration project to show what's possible. And this is it. It might feel what we're in is a strange vacuum of energy with this Pluto going back and Mercury retrograde and everything that's happened, where it feels like, oh no, it's like doubt. This is Venus, man. She's doubting. She's, on one hand, she feels more in her truth, so she's just going to keep weathering the storm and trusting and loving and healing and breathing. But on the other hand, she feels scared. She feels alone. She feels in doubt. She feels that everything's working against it. But this is the last push of those energies that are working against. It's like the mothers were evolving beyond that. That's healing this great divide within. And so it's a figment. It's just a mirage. It's real because we have lots of deep, dark feelings coming up from the past. But it's a trick. And soon you'll be feeling back to your center and to your truth, and you'll be stronger and more confident than ever. Because the deal is that this inheritance, if we are the wealth, then we must receive it, feel worthy of it, feel safe in it, and begin to express it. And so if we're moving into the golden age of abundance of this Aquarian age, then it does make sense. We're lead the way. Because if we're talking about these, we've already had as supernova souls experiences in higher technologies in our body and light body and activation and kundalini activation and going through spiritual ascension. That is the wealth. So if we're doing a reevaluation, that's the free energy, that's the wealth. That's the only thing that matters. And that's the mother saying, hey, you guys, I'm here. You can't do it without me, and you got to come here to get me. You can't steal it. You can't manipulate it. You got to come and honor it. Show up with gifts. Show up with reverence. Can't do it without her. She says, I'll be here. And when you're ready to step into the dream, let's go. Because you are that new beautiful. Everything in there that society has suppressed over lifetimes, the people around you have suppressed, you have suppressed, and it's like the dam is going to break, and boom, finally, the world, the new beautiful is supernova souls coming online, going supernova like Betelgeuse, right? Shining bright in the sky so that nobody can ever doubt again that we are spiritual beings having an amazing consciousness experience and moving back into the power of our co-creation. So incredibly powerful times. Let's stay connected. Thank you so much for your support. Thanks for coming to the activations. Thanks for being a part of the Soul Tribe. It means so much to me to work with you on this level. Very advanced, high level work. Have not been able to find this level of work and support. So it's such an honor to be here with you. Thank you so much. And just keep holding on to that one kernel, the torch, the flame, the spark of the vision. Nobody can take her love from you, and you've got it. And everybody wants it. You've got the wealth of the world. So we better start living like that, huh? In the ecstatic celebration of living, in the thriving, rather than their survival mode game. Here we go. We're doing it, Supernova Souls. This is the edge. This is where we take the leap. This is where we push forward the wheel of time and step into that new, beautiful you, new, beautiful world. Well, thank you so much for your support, for being here, for listening to these messages and being present in these times. I love you so much, Supernova Souls. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.